Flosstube, this is Diane, the Be a Blessing Stitcher, and this is my channel all about Flosstube. Welcome! I'm so glad you could all stop by again today for just a little chat. Today is Sunday, November 3, and this is Flosstube number 19. If you are new to my channel, this channel is primarily about cross stitch. There might be a little sewing and a few other crafts thrown in occasionally, but primarily cross stitch. If you've been here before, thank you all so much for your support. It just really means the world to me that you come back month after month to sit and visit with me for just a little bit. It's a true privilege to be able to come to you guys and share what I've been working on. It's one of my biggest joys is just to be able to share what I've been doing and hopefully hear a little bit from you guys about what you're all working on as well. So today I have several new starts. I've got one finish, and I've got one FFO, and then I've got something else that's kind of a finish. So we'll go over that as well. So let's start with my first finish. When I went to the Casper, Wyoming retreat called Crazy Woman Stitching, I think, I met a gal there named Jennifer Armstrong, and she is the owner of Cricklewood Crossing, and she had a table set up, and she was showing one of her newer patterns, which was called Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and I really loved it. And she had Forbidden Fiber Co. put together a few little kits for people who might buy her pattern and want to just start it right away, which was me. So I went ahead and started it, and I talked about that at my last video, and I got a little start on it. Well, this month I really wanted to hit it hard. I kind of switched gears into some Christmas stitching, and I wanted to hit it hard. So this is her pattern. Stay back a little bit so you can see the whole thing. It's something unique about it is she said she's seen a lot of patterns that have just the first line that would say like Hark the Herald, but she wanted to do a series of patterns that had like the whole first sentence. So that's what was kind of unique about it, and I loved that she did that. And it has a house in it, of course. Love my houses. It's a Christmas stitch. I thought it was cute, and it's a series. I love series. So this is my finish. And it was actually quite a bit bigger than I thought it was. I got done with the angel at the retreat, and for some silly reason in my head, I thought I was about halfway. Well, you can see that was nowhere near halfway. So I hammered down on it pretty hard this past week, and I got it finished. And now I'm trying to decide how I want to fully finish it. If I want to put it on a board, I have a couple different things at home I could try, or if I want to have it framed. So I'm just thinking about that one a little bit. So that one was done on Forbidden Fiber Co. fabric called Bungalow, and the flosses were in a kit, and they were primarily what she had written in the pattern, but Forbidden Fiber Co. had put the kits together and had just randomly substituted a couple of different things. If you want the conversion that I did, let me know, and I'll be happy to send it to you. But it was primarily done on Forbidden Fiber Co. fabric and with Forbidden Fiber Co. floss. So that was new for me. I hadn't really worked much with either of those before. So that was my one and only finish. And then I have something that I finished last year already. Sorry about my puppy. She's going to be wandering in and out of the frame. She had surgery on Monday and has become a bit of a leech. I've been home with her just to make sure she can go in and out of the house as needed, and also trying hard to keep her from jumping up on things. That's been my biggest challenge because she's a bit of a jumper. And we were home 30 seconds when she did her first jump. I'm like, oh boy, this is gonna be a long process. So she doesn't get her stitches out until next week, Friday, and she's getting sick of her cone, but she's kind of adorable in it. I got an inflatable one. Come here, baby. There she is. Her name is Finley. She's my little sweetie. So she's not feeling 100%. And like I said, she might be hopping up and down a little bit because she's become very attached to me over the last week. Okay, so back to my fully finish. I had finished this stitch. It's a Tiny Town by hand, Heart and Hand. This one was actually called Harvest. And I had done a complete color conversion. I liked her pattern so much on Harvest. I loved like this little barrel. I loved the birds in the sky. But I felt like her pattern had a ton of brown. And I wanted something that had just a little bit more color to it. So that was my conversion to it. And I finished it by putting just some trim from Lori Holt. I believe it was a Lori Holt rickrack trim that came on a roll. I don't recall the color of it. It's been sitting downstairs on my sewing machine with the trim pinned in place and everything forever. And I finally just went down there the other day and decided I gotta get this done because it's almost past the time for being able to display it. The B-Scap, this holder came from a fella on Etsy called Pete's B-Scap, and I'll put a link to almost everything that I've worked on. I'll try to put a link to everything in the description box. These are still available. This color I chose is not black, but it was I wanted it as dark as I could get it, and I don't recall, it was a custom. I remember asking him for something that was super, super dark brown. And so I'm sure he would be willing to work with you on that as well. So if you're interested in that B-Scap, it does hold 5. I don't know if you can see that. It holds 5 scissors. I've got 4 of the slots. Oh, and it's dusty. I've had it setting kind of behind things for just a bit because it still had my spring Tiny Town on it. So it's just been kind of sitting out and getting ignored. So anyway, if you want more information, I'll put a link to his shop as well. So there's my 2 that I actually got done. And then I did a little tiny bit of sewing. I've decided that I'm gonna try to start selling some project bags, and I don't think it's gonna be like anything grand. I'm just gonna sell a few here and there. I had come up with an idea a while back for the vinyl cover, the vinyl front bags. Everyone was complaining about how their patterns would stick, anything with writing would stick to the vinyl. But I've always really enjoyed being able to see the extra fabric on the inside. So what I decided to do was I created a separate pocket inside so you can slide your pattern back here, and then you can put your floss or anything else, your scissors, any other things that you need to keep with it in the front part. So that's just a little idea I had. So not near ready to sell anything yet. This was my prototype. I had made one before for my mom, and it was floppy. It was just, and so I didn't like that. So I wanted something that was going to be a little bit more sturdy and still have some puff to it so I could quilt like the inside section. So I'm still kind of perfecting that, getting all the bugs worked out of it. I intend to kind of play around. I want to have fun with it, so I'm going to play around with a couple of other different options. I'm definitely interested in making some patchwork ones, some all fabric ones. So we'll see. We'll see how this morphs, what this turns into. Okay, then I think let's jump into what I have been working on. And I've tried to be more organized this time with the hopes that I can make this video just a tad shorter so that it's not quite so long. So we'll see how this goes. I had found on one of the de-stash sites a while back something called Doxology. And this was the pattern that I saw. And it's by Embroidery Inc. or something like that was where I found it, and I will go ahead and put a link to that as well. But I just fell in love with the colors. I loved the gray and the red together. I thought it was so striking. And little did I know that my friend Jeannie on Loose Thread Stitchers was also working on it. It was her Sunday stitch, and she of course finished it because she's amazing and finishes everything like that. So I started it, and I got praise done. And then I started adding what was called for in here, and it was actually green, and it was quite a bright green. And my dog is tipping things over. She's not liking that. She's not getting my attention. And so I did what was called for, and I'm like, just trust the process. It'll be fine, because I really thought Jeannie's was beautiful. But I put it in, and I didn't like it. So I pulled it out and then I put in like this gray green instead. And that's just not really working for me either. So that's gonna come back out. And so I might just go with what I thought I saw on the original pattern, which is gray. Even though they're vines, I might just put in the colors that I thought were there instead of the ones that are called for. Sometimes, you know, if you find a picture of something and you love the picture, I think it's okay to just change it to what the picture looks like rather than what the actual floss looks like. So I think that's going to be the case on this one. So that one's going to get pulled out just a little bit of frogging. It won't be too bad. I've already frogged the P and the R and part of the A because I ended up changing the red as well. It had more of an orangey red and I wanted a little bit more of a berry red there. Long story. Anyway, that's where I'm at on that one. The other one I just picked up the other night because I was watching Beth the Red Cross Stitcher's Flosstube video, and her and I started on this pattern back on February 1st. We had decided to stitch a couple things together, and this one was Winter Rose Manor. I did mine on 40 Count Dusty Road by, I think, Seraphim. And she had started in a different place than I did, and she had all of her beautiful house on the top with the white vase. She had that all done. And oh, it just was so beautiful. It made me really anxious to get to that vase. Well, I ended up going down this side and around the bottom, and so it's like gonna be the last thing that I work on. But it just really inspired me to get mine out and to get it going again. And so I worked primarily on the house. This is how far I am. And I put in more of the house and I got all of my windows in. So I'm working up toward it. And I'm skipping things. I don't usually do that. I like to fill in as I go, but I'm just so anxious to get to the roof and get to that basket that I'm not gonna fill in the windows yet. I think there's an eye here. The centers of these flowers aren't done. I still have to do some of my border. And that's not like me. I don't tend to hop around. But in this case, I'm okay with it because I really want to get to that basket. So I'm working on that one. And then my next one, I had made a promise to some friends of mine when I was at some new friends that I made at the Crazy Woman Stitching Retreat. And I'd shown them a picture of my oldest whip. It was a stitch that I started way back in the 90s. It was the only one that I had left when I stepped away from cross stitch, but I never got rid of it. It held some memories for me. I had started it around the time that my dad was sick and in the hospital, and we did lose him as a result of that illness. And so there's some memories attached to that. So I know I'll never get rid of it, but I also was not motivated at all to work on it. And one of the gals there, Alicia, finished hers. And she's not a prolific cross stitcher. She had been working on kind of a small for a couple years, but she finished it. And I was so inspired by her determination and perseverance. And so I showed them this and they're like, you have to work on that. You have to finish it. So I'm like, okay, I guess so. So I pulled it out for the first time in a long time. And I worked on it a little bit. So this is what it is. It's called Gracious Era. And you can see it's a really old one because it came in the bag. The dimension kits that came in the bags, they don't do that anymore. But it's really a beautiful pattern, and I still love it just as much as I did when I bought it. And I got hung up on it and kind of stopped for a couple of reasons. One of them was when I was stitching it, a lot of this part over here is a tent stitch. And I was just kind of doing a sewing method with it, and it torqued my fabric just a little bit, so it pulled my post a little bit crooked. And I know I can fix that when I stretch it and put it in a frame, but it was really bugging me every time I pulled it out. So I'm trying to get past that. I put it in a Q-snap, and I'm hoping that that will help pull it a little bit straight. But I worked quite a bit on this area. I actually did quite a bit down in here. And it may look like I'm really close to being done, but I'm not, because the pattern has a lot of back stitching. Haven't really tackled any of it yet. And then I'm trying to decide if I want to put the snowflakes that are called for on top. The snowflakes are not charted. They're just simply shown on the picture, and it tells you just to randomly put in snowflakes. But this is not just a little winter storm. This is a little blizzard that they're having. If you look at all the different snow on this pattern, it's a lot. And so that was slowing me down too, but I decided I don't have to make that decision right away. I can finish stitching it, do the back stitching, and then I can decide if I want to put those in there. So that was my second whip. Or it's my third. I think that's my third. Yep, that's my third. And then I had a new start. So my doxology was a new start this month. And this one was also a new start. It is called Amazing Grace, the Little White Church by Kaniku's. And I'll put a link to the pattern. Now their pattern, I think, is available, but if you want the fabric, you will have to contact them and tell them what count you want for it, and they will print it for you. Sometimes they go on a little bit of a break. I know I had to wait quite a while in order to get mine. From the time I actually ordered it, it was quite a while before they actually were able to ship it out to me. But this is the pattern. And it's stitched on fabric that says Amazing Grace in the background. And I saw this pattern on Jennifer the Calculated Stitcher's Flosstube video, and I just kind of fell in love with it. And I've had it now for quite a while. It's always been on one of my my top-ish to-do lists. And somebody said something to me recently, and I'm like, I am just gonna start it. So I did. And I've got this much done. I've got some of the small tree, part of the church done. But what was a little disappointing to me for that church, I'm just gonna come up close, was it was actually sort of difficult to stitch because there's two different colors in that white, and yet after I stitched them, I can't see the difference. And so what made it kind of a hard start is not really giving me the impact that I wanted. But I'm past it now. I'll continue to do the as called for colors on that one. But I think I'm gonna love this when it's finished. That red color on there is just gorgeous. So I'll keep working on that one. That one will stay somewhere in the rotation. I'm kind of a squirrel when it comes to how I do things, and I'm pretty sure I asked for a 36 count is what I did this one on. So we'll see, yeah, how I end up finishing that. I'm thinking that would be pretty in a frame. That's what my thought is as of right now, is that I'm gonna put that one in a frame somewhere. And then the last one that I worked on is Remember Me by Teresa Kogut. Let me just reorganize my piles here. And here is Remember Me by Teresa Kogut. I have loved this one for quite a while. And started it for my birthday this year. And again, Beth, the Red Cross Stitcher, was sweet and kind enough to join me on that one. I will apologize, I have some dangling threads on this one, guys, because I was using a Q-snap, and then whenever I would get to the bottom of the Q-snap, I would quit, so I didn't have to move the Q-snap all the time, but I left the thread there. I've kind of decided just recently that I don't like the Q-snaps anymore. They leave such a harsh imprint on my fabric, and sorry, I gotta stretch. The Hark the Herald was in a Q-snap, and I had a hard time ironing those out. A really hard time ironing those out. So I might go back to my scroll frames, or even just go to Q-snaps again, because I don't feel like a Q-snap does quite as much damage. But this is my progress. So I've actually made a fair amount of progress on this one. I'm really happy with it. I'm just about done with the outline-ish part of the house. I have to do inside those little flower motifs, and then of course inside all the little windows and doors and stuff like that. But I'm getting there, and that one continues to really hold my attention. I love it. I really love it yet. And again, I'm anxious to have it up in my house. This one I'm going to stitch in memory of my husband. So I'm going to put his initials on there somewhere. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm not to the bottom, not even close to the bottom of that one yet. Okay, so that was really all that I had for whips this time. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a shorter video, I'm hoping. I did get a new journal. I had used Book of Days last year. I didn't really care much for it. And so I found this journal on Flosstube or on Amazon. And I really am liking it. It's so much smaller. It's spiral bound, so it's very easy to open. Plus it gives me, and I've started using it because it backdated it to November. So it gives me a full month like this. But then it also gives me, and I'm not huge into stickering up my book. It also gives me, each day I can write down different things that I did so I can kind of remember the sequence of what I've been working on. And so it does that for each month as well. So I'm really kind of liking this smaller size. It doesn't take up as much space where I'm sitting so I can grab it quicker. So that one's on Amazon, and I didn't create a link, but I can if somebody is interested in that one. Okay, then I think I'm going to go into my tentative plans for November. I know I won't get all of this done because it's a pile. I'm going to pull it all down. Here it comes. Boom. Okay, so I had done a couple of the different months of seasons by Hands-On Design. And I don't have my March one finished. I did finish my August and my October, but I have to redo my October. I'm not happy with it, but I have stitched a couple of other ones on that one. And so I plan to stitch, I think I'm going to jump into December, which is, so I've done this one too. I've done July and I've done March. I haven't finished them yet. I put them in the Calendar Keeper by Paisley and Polka Dots. And when I have something new done, I'll show it to you. But I think I'm going to jump over and do this December one, which is just kind of some cute houses. And I use a much, much lighter fabric than what they have there. Mine is on Platinum by, and it's a 32 count Lugana. And so I just feel like it's just not as dark. I wanted something that was a little bit brighter, and yet everything still pops very well on this. This is Platinum in Lugana, 32 count. So I want to jump in and do the December. I haven't been working on very many smalls, so then I don't have anything to show you guys. So I want to do a couple of smalls again. Plus it's just a bit of a grind sometimes when you do the large ones. You make progress, but it's nice to finish things once in a while, to actually get a finish. So that's what the plan is with this next one as well. If I can find it, it is, here we go. It's a Dimensions kit actually, and it's called Christmas Sayings Ornaments. And it looks like these. And I have stitched one of these, but I ended up giving it away as a gift. I think it was the Noel one. And this calls for some really light tent stitching, which I didn't care for. So I ended up leaving that out when I stitched mine. But I had chosen not to use the called for fabric, which was I think just an Ada, and I was using Paper Bark by Fox and Rabbit. It's just a really pretty light tan, and this was 32 count. And so I was doing this one on 2/2, so I plan to pick this up and do at least one, try to get one ornament done, if I can. We'll see. I'm starting to realize that I can't accomplish as much as I think I can. I always have a tendency to overrate what I think I can get finished, and I can't. So that's why I say all of these plans are tentative and they're held loosely. This is one that is almost finished. I don't actually have the cover sheet for it because it came in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitches magazine, and I get a digital copy of that. I don't get a hard copy. And I'm so close to being done with this, and I just put it aside last year at Christmas time, but it's got some little confetti snowflakes. You can kind of see some of them in there. So it's got a few more confetti snowflakes that I have to do. And then it also has, along this top row, it has these buttons, these stockings that have to be stitched on. And so I'm really, really close to being done with this one. So that one hopefully can be a finish by the time I see you guys next time. So that one is in my plans. And then one of my Christmas ones that I have worked on for a while is just Dasher and Dancer by Hobby House Press. This was my first time stitching with a monochromatic type of a stitch where you do it all in one color. I've seen a lot of different versions of this, which are so beautiful. Some people have done the tree in green, left the rest in red. Some people have done it all in green. I think it would be beautiful if you did it all in kind of a golden color as well, especially if you did a little darker fabric. I think golden, like a golden color, would be beautiful. So there's a lot of different options available. I chose to do this one. I started this one on December 25, so it was my last year Christmas stitch. And I chose to use Country Redwood, which has a nice variegation in it. It's not over the top crazy, but it still does show. And this is my progress. So I'm really hoping to pick that up and work on that again. I can't get this all in the frame and then still see you guys. Now I feel like Wilson off of Home Improvement. You can just see my eyes and my nose. So it actually has a fair amount to do. There's a bunch at the bottom yet, and I have to do the other whole side. So this is my first foray into monochromatic and then also into more of a Quaker style. I've never really done any other stitches that were quite like that. So I'll be picking this one up. I don't hold any grand delusions that I'm going to get this finished for Christmas this year. I'm just done putting those kinds of pressures and things like that on myself. It just makes me unhappy and it makes me not enjoy the stitch as much. So I'm kind of done doing that. What I get done, I get done. So that is my Christmas plans. Then I have two really big crazy starts that I would like to do. Now these I don't think I'm going to start at all this year. I think these might get started next year. But my friend Mary Beth is doing Anniversaries of the Heart. And I have all the patterns for Anniversaries of the Heart. And I kitted it. I pulled out my fabric and I kitted the color for the first house. And then I found out that nobody likes the colors in the first house. And so last night we were Zooming together and we were looking at just different things on Instagram, different pictures and everything that people had done. And so I'm trying to decide what colorway I want to go with. But the fabric I've chosen is going to be 40 count Ren by Picture This Plus. And it looks beautiful with my existing colors that I've pulled, but those existing colors are for the first house. So anyway, this one is still a work in progress in my head, but I do intend to get started on this one. I love the idea of doing a sampler that is a keepsake for my family. It might be the only one they ever keep. My family are not keepers at all. So all of my stuff will be available after I'm gone at the Goodwill. Just gonna tell you that all of my stitches will be available. That's kind of harsh. That's not necessarily true, but they're not interested in it like I am. Maybe I'll have a granddaughter or something, or that will be interested in keeping it for future generations. We'll see. Okay, and then the last one that I'm gonna work on is a Hop Run Hollow piece. Jeannie with Loose Thread Stitchers had a suggestion that we all start one on the first of the year. She will be done with hers in no time because she's a crazy fast stitcher. And we can do any Hop Run Hollow that we want. And I looked at all of them. I have several patterns. And what I decided I wanted to do is the Christmas one. mostly because I really love the words. I heard the bells on Christmas Day. And I think what I'm going to do, I saw one done that left off the whole bottom row. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to stitch it that way. I think I'm going to stitch it in the called for colors unless I get started and I don't care for something. Then I may switch something out, like if it's not showing up very well on my fabric, that type of thing. But mostly I think I plan on doing the called for colors. Make sure I get everything put back here. Okay, that is it so far, guys. So that just leaves my haul, and it's not enormous, and it's not going to be in the future because I've made a decision that I'm going to try really hard to stitch my stash. I have so much, and I spent a little time last night putting some of my patterns into, I'm trying to remember what it's called, X Stitch Plus, I believe. It's an Apple app that you can put on your iPad or on your phone. And I'm going to try to catalog all of my patterns because they're everywhere and I've really lost track of what I have. I know I've got some fabulous patterns, and my dog's gonna bump the camera here in a minute. It needs to be in a better system so I can see what I've got, that I don't duplicate by seconds. I can't even see what I have right now. So I'm working on that. I just started a little bit last night. That is going to be an all winter long project because I want to get my fabric in there eventually. There's like an inventory. You can put all your kitted pieces in there so that I don't have to just like start sifting through all of the piles of things that I have when I'm looking for something, that I'll know, oh yeah, I've got this and it's in this location. And so that's my plan. We'll see if I get there. I did get a couple of really sweet cards this past month. I don't know if I'm going to call them stitchy kindness so much, but they were very, very kind. One of them is from my friend Gina. She is such a gifted card maker, so gifted. And she sent me a Halloween card, and it's absolutely so adorable. Like I said, she just makes the most beautiful cards. And then she sent all these little creepy crawly, they're not stuck to anything, they're just loose in the bag, but they're like little plastic little ghosties. And they're all in the envelope as well. So I haven't quite figured out a home for them yet, but I thought that card was so kind and so cute. And then I received another thank you card from my dear friend Julie, who won the bag at my last giveaway. And she just sent me a very, very sweet thank you note. Yeah, she's a dear friend. So I was excited when I was able to give that to her. Okay, I joined Jingle Ball. And I think I'm going to have to pause here because I didn't take any of my notes along, and I know I've got pictures for all of these, so I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. Okay, so the Jingle Ball patterns classes that I signed up for. The first one is with, it's called Festive Forest by the Blue Flower, and this is the pattern. And so I'm so excited. So this is going to have to be part of my plans as well. I've got 3 different classes that I joined, so I'll have some stitching to do for those. So that was one. Then I also signed up for the Gingerbread House Sewing Book by Stacy Nash. And I know I took a picture of it so I could show it to you guys. This is the Gingerbread House by Stacy Nash. Let's see if I can get that to focus in for you. So that one's so, so cute. And then the last one I signed up for, and it was a challenge to get these classes. I kind of sat stalking the website until one was released, and I finally got one like after an hour and a half. The other one is called #Joy by Hands On Design. And I loved the felt that she did with the pillow joy on the side. So joy is kind of one of my go-to words. Early on in my husband's ALS journey, a couple that we were quite close to sent us some flowers. And in the flowers, there was a stick. You know how they do different things. And it said, choose joy. And so that's what I choose every single day. I choose joy. Because I can, right? And because it's the better way. So joy is one of my go-to words. I really, really like that word. And I have it, if you ever come over, it's sprinkled throughout my house everywhere, especially at Christmas time. Anytime I find something with the words joy on it, I tend to either buy it or stitch it, or so I love that. I love that. Okay, so back to my notes. Those are the three. Jingle Ball is December 6th through 8th. You can still get just a general admission ticket. They're fabulous. It's $10. And you can interact with so many people. They have stitching chat rooms. They have different things with some of the designers. They have a schedule on there where you can hop on, and you can't converse with them so much. I'm trying to remember how they did that last year. I was so sick last year when they did it. But they have speed stitching where you can hop in for like a couple of minutes and chat with somebody and then jump to somebody else, and those are so fun. A little intimidating, but they're really quite fun. I did that when they did the summer event, and I tried it for the first time there, and it was scary but fun at the same time. So it's a nice way to get to meet and know other people. There are stitching chat rooms where you can just sit and stitch as late as you want. And I think they have like an international table for people who are on a different time zone than what we are here in the States. So it's so well run. It's done by Stephanie Webb, Lindy Stitches, and then the website for it is called thejingleball.net. And if you go there, you can purchase your ticket if you're interested, but it's well worth it because all of the designers come out with brand new patterns that are going to be available only at the Jingle Ball, and then maybe not released for another year. And then they also have tons of freebies that you get on their website. So the $10 is ridiculous. It's just such a good deal. So I highly, highly recommend that you guys go check that out. So looking forward to that. Okay, then going on, I told you about X-Stitch Plus, that app for my iPad. I really think it's going to be a valuable tool for me. And then I'll go on in my haul. So I had purchased this quite a while ago. This is called Conifer by Picture This Plus. It's in 40 count. And the reason I ordered it is Brenda, the Handwork Maniac's fault. She had been working on a long dog sampler, which is so cool. It says, cares of tomorrow can wait until this day is done. And it's just like a sampler. It will be a big stitch, but she did it on this dark fabric, and then she put silks on it, and I still have to get I need to do like a neutral creamy color silk. She didn't know what hers was called, but she told me to get this silk on her website. She said she had used this silk from Silk for Us, and it's stunning on here. It's just the variegation and everything is beautiful, so gorgeous. So I finally got that fabric, and I ordered it 6 months ago, maybe even longer, and it finally came just like a week or so ago. So I now have to figure out what I want to do for my creamy color, but other than that, that one's going to be ready to go. Hopefully maybe in the new year. I don't have plans to really start that one yet. And then I also had received my fabric of the month from Fox and Rabbit from Garon Stitchery, and I get the 40 count, and this one was called Tornado. Kind of a perfect Halloween-ish type of a fabric. It reminds me a lot of Murky. And then I also got on a 46 count kick for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, I know why. It was Nicole Spore's fault. She was stitching something tiny on 46 count, and I don't have a lot of 46 count. So I bought this very basic, it's called Raw, and I bought this in a 46 count if I want to do something super teeny tiny. which I quite often like to do super teeny tiny. I don't know if my eyes like it, but my mind thinks it's a good idea. Definite discrepancy there. Okay, then I got just a couple patterns. I have belonged to this Country Cottage Needlework collection of ornaments, and I got 3 of them, I think, since the last time I showed you. And the very last one we got, I just think is so, so cute. Whoops, dropping out of frame. There's a swan. And this one's a couple of reindeer. Love this. I was drawn by the pink, of course. I love pink. And I have a tree that I put in my bedroom, so I'm thinking these ornaments eventually will go. And a pink Santa. I think he's really cute too. So I think this might be done. I think that might be the last of those that are coming. And then I also had signed up for all of the folk series by Hands On Design. And this is the last one, the winter one. I haven't started any of these yet, but I love them, and I have the board. I have so many things that I love, you guys. It's sometimes really hard to know what to start. This is why I'm going to stitch my stash, because I have a ridiculous amount, and I need to stitch the things that I have because I bought them for a reason. I love them. And so I have to stitch them instead of just continuing to add. I don't mind adding a pattern here or there, but I'm definitely going to be careful about kitting anything else up, buying the fabrics for anything. I have a ton of fabric too, so I don't really have to worry about that so much. So yeah, I'm going to try. I actually canceled my Fabric of the Month club because my bin is overflowing and I can't. I either have to add more space or I have to get rid of some, and I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, I have to quit. I just have to quit. So this channel is going to become a lot more about just the stitching and a little bit less about the haul, I think, overall. I had a nostalgic moment, you guys. I try to stay off of the destash sites, but every once in a while I'll get on and I'll see something. This one was, I'd seen it a few times, and when I started stitching, I did all the precious moments. And these are the seasons. And I just remembered how I loved stitching these and how I loved the big sections of the fabric. It was a different type of stitching, and I just remembered how much I loved it. So I bought a precious moments pattern. Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever do any of them, but I loved it. It was like adding to your favorite collection that you have in your house. It was like adding another piece to that. And then when I was at Stitchery Nook, my friend Mary Beth sat across from me, and she is really into doing a lot of samplers. And she had done, I bought it too. Oh, and hers was so pretty. What was it called? But anyway, she had decided to change a couple of the motifs that she didn't like on it. And she had taken them from this incredible book, The Ultimate Sampler Motif Source Book. And it's just a book full of lots of little motifs. So if you want to change something, if there's something that's bugging you, I'm a strong believer in make it your own. Do what will bring you joy, my word, you know, and enjoy the stitch and do it the way that you want it. It doesn't have to be exactly like what the pattern calls for. I just really believe in making it your own. So I jumped right online and I bought this book. And so I haven't used it yet, but when I'm doing Anniversaries of the Heart or something else down the road, maybe even the Hawk Run Hollow, I'm not sure. I might pull something from here, and I might do something from here. And then I know I'm making my own project bags, but it doesn't stop me from buying. So I had actually ordered this one 3 months ago, maybe something like that, and they had something happen in their house where they couldn't get them done because it's always a pre-order with them. It's called Missy Lynn Co. on Facebook. They basically will post a notice that they're going to have some new ones in their album on Facebook, and then at the designated time you jump on and you claim which one you want. And they make mats and other keepers too. This one's called a Stitchy Keeper, and it is, you guys, it is the most, hi puppy, the most amazing project keeper I have ever seen. Look at her. She makes like a handle on it. It's got a zippered pocket here. This is the second one that I've purchased from her. And then you open it up and it's got a full pocket and a zipper there. It's got a smaller mini one here, another small mini, another small mini, another small mini, and then another full pocket and zippered pouch again. And they're just made beautifully. Like I was looking at it because of course I'm trying to make them myself, and I'm like, how did she do this? And how it's impeccable. I mean, for a handmade project, it's stunning. And I know that she said at one point she made all the zippers at the top so that when you pick it up with your handle, nothing will fall out. So even if you forget to close one of your zippers, when you grab it by the handle, nothing falls out. And I thought that was kind of brilliant too. So I did that one, and then I belong to Carrie Tiger Lily's Keeper Club. And I've had this for quite a while too. She always sends a host of things in her keeper. So this one came with some biscotti. It's honeycomb. She sent these adorable little quilt notebooks. They're just little, beautifully, there's 5 of them. So she curates things from other people off of Etsy and just likes to help out other small businesses as well. And so that's where most of this comes from. And then she also had this cute little needle minder in there. And an adorable charm, an acorn charm. You know what, I'll pull that out so you guys can see that a little bit better. To put on the keeper. So it's so cute. Okay, and then it comes with one of her famous keepers. So this was the one for, I think it was September, October. Maybe this was the October one. And Carrie does a beautiful job with these too, and her keepers are just, you can choose with either a bobbinated or you can choose the 2 zippered pouches, which is what I prefer. I don't bobbinate my thread anymore. I used to. So, and then it has a nice wide clasp, which allows you to fill this up and still be able to close it. So you can still get quite a bit inside there. Okay, guys, I think that was it. I think I'm all done. Let me see, I do wanted to talk about, I hit a milestone. I hit 2,000 subscribers. So thank you, everybody who contributed to that, the people who've been with me and the new ones that have come in. It does strangely warm my heart when I get new subscribers. So I do love it when you guys like, subscribe, comment. I love it when you comment. I love to be able to answer any questions of things that I've left out. And I just love interacting with you guys. It's why I do this. It's because I love the interaction. So I wanted to do a giveaway. And I can already tell I'm not going to make any money at making project bags because I'm going to give away my first one. So if anybody is interested in getting this project bag, all you have to do is put in your comment, let's see, what should we go with? Dragonfly. They have dragonflies in it. So let's go with dragonfly in your comment. And you have to be over 18 and please be a US resident. It's just crazy to try to send things internationally. I would love to be able to send them out to you guys, but I have to be realistic. So please be from the US. You need to be 18 or older because I do have to ask for your physical address. So comment dragonfly if you guys are interested in that. I did also, I got my floss of the month. I will continue to do this. I got my color and cotton floss of the month. I belong to 2 different ones. One is a neutral and one is all colors. And so I got my package of those. And then I also got my Gentle Arts. I belong to one through Fireside Stitchery. I get 11 Gentle Art flosses every month as well. And so I got that one too for the month. All right, then I just wanted to mention some of the people that I have been watching. I've had some wonderful people shout me out, and there's a couple of brand new ones out there that I really wanted to make you guys aware of. You probably are already, but one of the new ones that I watched was her Flosstube channel is called Look What's in My Hoop. Her name is Erica, and she stitches very much like I do. I really enjoyed her channel, and I liked her content so much. So please go check her out. If you like what I stitch at all, go check her out. And then Julie with Running with Scissors, Stitching with Jane and Julie, has started a new Flosstube channel with her daughter Kathryn, and it is called Floss Paper Scissors. So please go check them out. They're a delight. Kathryn is so wonderful, super crafty, and I think they're going to be really successful in their Flosstube channel. So go give them some love. And then there was one other new one, Stitching on Island Time. Lori I'm so sorry, Lori, I can't remember your last name, but her and her daughter Mallory have started a brand new Flosstube. They look like seasoned pros. I mean, they were amazing, so natural at it. So I would love to encourage you guys to also go check their channel out as well. And then just the other ones that I've watched. I'm sure you guys have all watched them. I watch, of course, Beth, the Red Cross Stitcher. I watch Sable Stitchers with Roberta and Lennie, Sweetwater Stitcher, Jessica, Loose Thread Stitchers, my friends Jeannie and Leanne, Floss, Bossin Cousins with Kristi and Callie, and Shine Sparkle Stitch, Holly and Anita. They did a new one again recently, which was wonderful. I adore Contented Needleworker Kim. And I've watched a lot of others, but that's enough for right now. I'll put links to all of those channels in my description box. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for joining me again for a little chat. And I hope that you'll like, subscribe, do all the things that we do here on Flosstube. And I'll see you again in probably about another month. Have a wonderful November, everybody. Bye.